And welcome back. We have reached the part of the show where we get into things that are not that serious, but we care about a lot regardless. It is Sanity Corner / I Feel Petty. Alyssa, Sanity Corner or I Feel Petty this week?
You guys, I have a Sanity Corner because the world is very dark and I need something to engage my brain. And Barbra Streisand has delivered. Her 900-page memoir dropped this week.
900 pages?
900 pages.
That's like Walter Isaacson writes on Einstein length. That's so long.
That's Team of Rivals.
It is, except Juanita, it's like Judy Garland and Ryan O'Neal and so many other people. My copy arrives today, but I have not been able to wait, so I have read every article. I have watched every interview. And like to put my love for Barbra Streisand into context, I saw her with my best friend Kara at her last concert in Brooklyn. Babs back in Brooklyn at Barclays. Grew up watching The Way We Were, which is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. It was lovely, wasn't it, Hubble? But so her book is out. And the thing is, there's so much I did not know about Barbra Streisand. I did not know how her father passed away when she was just a couple months old. She grew up really, really poor. She used to fill a hot water bottle up and pretend it was a doll. And do you know what she did? Now, in her Malibu home in the basement, she has a dollhouse that she built with all these dolls she has collected. When she was very, very young, she was 18 or 19, she got her first deal with Columbia Records. And she said, I don't care how much money you pay me, but you have to let me maintain creative control. And like, there are just all of these lessons that I feel like we're hearing people struggle with now that she was very prescient about back when she was young. And like, there was one bit of advice that, you know, I always joke that I'm the oldest person on this podcast, but she told a story about Judy Garland where they were singing together and they were holding hands. And she realized that like Judy Garland was nervous. Judy Garland, obviously older than
I know this moment.
Barbra was. And she said that she held her hand and they talked about it. And she said, it gets harder when you get older because your fear of failing is stronger. When you're young and you're wild, you're like, fuck it, maybe I'll make it. Maybe I won't. I'm going to give it a shot. But when you get older, the fear of failing is so much more real. And Barbra Streisand admitted that she has a fear now of singing in public. And when asked, they were like, well, Barbra, like, what's the tea? Juanita, exactly to your question.
Yeah.
She's like, when I turned in the first draft of the manuscript, her editor was like, you got to leave some blood on the page. You got to get in there. Like, you got to spare people. So 900 pages arriving to my house today. I cannot wait. It will be the longest book I have ever read, and I'm sure I will sob. I have downloaded more of her albums, and it's going to be a very Barbra holiday season here at my house.
I'm so excited for this, and I distinctly remember the moment that they're talking about when she did the duet with Judy Garland. Happy days are here again, and forget your troubles. And I was just like, oh my God, it makes so much sense because they were clutching each other throughout that entire performance, and I loved it, but now I love it even more. Thank you for sharing that, Alyssa.
You're welcome. The last thing that makes her a bad bitch is that when Siri, you know, Amazon Siri came out, it didn't say her name correctly. If you asked who was the star of Funny Girl, it said Barbra Streisand. And she couldn't get it fixed, so she just called Tim Cook and said, can you please? And he did.
Wow.
We call that a flex.
Yeah, that's a flex.
Yes.
That's a flex. Wow, what a good memoir season. Britney Spears, Julia Fox, Barbra Streisand. Who else?
Oh, it's good enough for me.
There's enough tea for like the entire year.
I love this.
Mine is like it's like a petty and it doesn't matter. But there was an article in Fortune this week. And the headline was, Victoria's Secret, the hypersexualized iconic millennial brand, tried to remake itself as feminist and Gen Z saw right through it. I don't like that characterization that Gen Z saw right through it. I think that they did, but I also think that like we lived through the bullshit that was the height of raunch culture. We fucking lived through it. The humiliation of like getting a new boyfriend and going to Victoria's Secret and buying awful underwear that was really overpriced, and signing up for your first credit card and like 3 months later being like, I now owe $700 for this dumb thing that I bought this boy that I don't even talk to anymore. Like the pressure for us to be sexy all the time, specifically in that Victoria's Secret branded way, the event television that was that fashion show where the women who were in it had to train like athletes and were not allowed to drink water so that they would be more cut on the day of the show, and they were oiled up and they were presented like they were product in a fancy brothel. And like we lived through this, and I think we're older and wiser now, and it's just like, I don't care how you fucking rebrand, I'm not having any of it.
Do you know what my confusion was?
What?
I was like, isn't Victoria's Secret Gen X? Like, that shit was in the mall when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
How is that?
I think the height of it was like, remember like the late 90s when like lad mags were huge in the US, like Maxim, the Hot 100.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
There was like that sort of like push toward Y2K and then into the first decade after Y2K. Where
they've
it was
erased the pre-Angels period of Victoria's Secret.
Christina Aguilera's Dirty with 2 R's or whatever. Like everybody was like, their thongs were out. Girls were kissing each other at parties to like make the boys like them. Like it was such a self-esteem. It like Girls Gone Wild. It like thrived on our low self-esteem.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It made us feel like we were doing something wrong if we weren't acting exactly the way that like a men's magazine would imagine that you act in a fantasy. And it was such a humiliating time to be a teenager or in your 20s and a straight girl and know what you were doing didn't feel like authentic to who you were, but you're like, I don't know, I guess this is how I do it. No, I don't. I think Gen Z did see through it, but millennials were just like, fuck you. Fuck you. Like, I don't care how.
I love that as soon as you started, I was like, I know what she's going to say. We saw it first, goddammit. Like,
no, because we had to live through it. We lived through that time, and it was so bad. It was such a bad time to be like a young woman. Like everybody who made it through that time and emerged with intact self-esteem or salvageable self-esteem accomplished something pretty impressive. Like the pressure on people to have like perfect bodies and show off our bodies all the time. Jessica Simpson being called fat in tabloids when she looked beautiful. Like all of this messaging, it was so harmful, and Victoria's Secret was just the apex of it. It's I like fuck Victoria's Secret forever, and not only because of the Epstein tie, but you know.
No, you know what it prompted me to do? Instead of, I went to Victoria's Secret to the mall, Hudson Valley Mall in high school, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to start dressing like Eddie Vedder instead, and that worked out much better for me.
I'm dressing like Eddie Vedder now. It's you got to layer
so
up.
Am I.
You got to layer up in the West Coast climate. It's like 60 degrees when we wake up. It's 80 degrees by noon. What are you gonna got to Eddie Vedder it up?
I'm cozy Eddie Vedder.
You know, the other thing that this brings up for me is specifically Tyra Banks' transition from Victoria's Secret Angel to America's Next Top Model and the toxicity that she spewed on that platform too. And it's just like, yikes. I don't even remember the peak years of America's Next Top Model, but I do know that it did damage for like, it feels like it picked up where Victoria's Secret left off to continue another layer of damage in the form of this television show that was very harmful.
There was something so sadistic about the entire culture that led to that and included that, like making women who had beautiful long hair like shave their heads and filming them crying and making that like part of the teaser for the episode.
Or also calling them fat when none of them at all were ever. So yeah. No, Gen Z is onto you, fine, but we've been onto you for longer because we actually we had to like live through your bullshit, Victoria's Secret. Okay, Juanita. Sanity corner, I feel petty. I'm going to take us back into a sanity corner with something that I'm just really excited to do because I'm chasing joy. Like I'm riding high off of these election results. I'm feeling good. So it's November, the first week of November, and I'm finna decorate my first of 3 Christmas trees. Because I said, I don't care, judge me. And shout out to my father-in-law, Dan, if you're listening, thank you for texting me. Dan texted me 2 days before the election, said, is the first tree up yet? And I was like, Dan, give me a day. Give me 2 days because it's coming. And I want to emphasize first of 3 because yes, I have 3 Christmas trees in my home. Like one
Juanita,
visible.
I have 3. Alyssa,
so
I have 3.
Yes.
Wait, are they themed, Juanita? Do you have like a specific idea for each one?
I haven't graduated from to themes yet. I just know I have them in strategic locations so that like when I come out of my bedroom in the morning, there's a Christmas tree to greet me. When I walk downstairs, there's a Christmas tree to greet me. When I go to the family room, there's a Christmas tree to greet me. Like I want to immerse myself in that joy. Alyssa, I feel like you get me on a whole nother level now.
So deeply. Juanita, I have the retro pink Christmas tree. Okay.
My mind is blowing.
Okay, I have the retro pink Christmas. That one's upstairs. So if I'm working up in the loft, I can see that. Yes. And I turn it on. It's on all day long. Then I have the bird Christmas tree. That one goes up first because to me, it's just seasonal, not Christmas related.
Okay. Ease in.
Yes, and then do you have different colored lights? Do you have? Are you a white tree, a color tree? What's your light vibe?
I have the lights that I can change into like color chasing lights or just like flickering white ones. So I go back and forth on all of them.
But it is pure joy. And my husband actually said to me, he's like, so, because I said it was like 30 degrees this morning. He's like, oh, the tree's going up? And I was like, not yet. But I am ordering the Christmas wreaths today.
I love when the partners know what is up. Come on. Yes.
My husband and I are in a silent war currently. Well, it's not very silent because I cannot be silent in wars. But we like kind of divide and conquer when it comes to holiday decorating. He loves decorating outside for Halloween, and I completely support him. I think it's great, and I like help him, but it's his plan. You know, he does all the logistics of that.
He's got the vision.
Exactly. And then I take care of Christmas. Now, my husband has not yet taken down the Halloween decorations, and I think it's specifically because he doesn't want me putting the Christmas lights up.
It's a protest. It's
time.
Explicitly protest.
I think he's being passive aggressive. He doesn't want me putting up the Christmas
direct.
lights.
What's passive about this?
We've still. I'm like, I'm going to put Santa hats on the fake graves in our yard if you don't take them down.
That's iconic.
I know. If you don't take them down. Santa died 25 times and he's buried in our yard. The skeleton, also Santa. All of the scary things are Santa. The Grim Reaper, Santa Grim Reaper. I'm ready. I'm raring to go. I'm ready for this year to kind of. I'm ready for this year to wind down, and all that's standing in between me and holiday cheer is my husband's refusal to remove the styrofoam graves from our front yard. So